So today we're going to go over the slopes of lines. So if you remember from Algebra 1, one way we can find a slope is finding the rise over the run. Now what that means is I'm going to connect 2 points, let's say A to B. And then I'm going to draw a triangle. I'm going to follow my grid lines here. And my rise is the vertical part, and I will count that 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to look at my run, the horizontal part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So notice also that the line is going down. This is your line. It is going in the downward position or direction. So my slope in this case is, so my slope of line AB is equal to 3 over 6, and that's a negative. And we can simplify that to a negative 1/2. Now let's look at C to D. Let's connect C to D, and let's look at the slope, or find the slope. So let's draw our triangle. Again, I stay on the grid lines, and my rise is 2, and my run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. So and also the slope is in a upward direction, so it's going to be positive. Now I'm going to go to here and say the slope of my line CD is equal to positive 2 over 4, and that's equal to 1/2. Okay? So this is one way of finding slope graphically. Now we're going to find slope using the change in y over the change in x. More specifically, you're going to say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, let's look at our points. Our points here are for A. You can count them, but I'll tell you it's negative 4 comma 4, and this is B is 2 comma 1. Now let's find the slope. So I will choose, look at my y's first. So I want my y's first. So let me highlight this, and I'll call this y2. I'll call this y1. I will highlight my x's for here. These are my x's, and I'll call those x1, and that's x2. Now, let's go find the slope of AB here using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so the slope of AB again is equal to, so let's do the y's. Y is right here, so it's a 1, and I'm going to minus the 4 right here, and then I'm going to go back here to x2, and that's 2, and I'm going to minus right here a negative 4. Okay, so quick thing to note is that a minus and a negative becomes a plus. So this becomes 1 minus 4, which is a negative 3, and this is now a 6. And I can simplify that to negative 1/2. So next, let's do that. That's fine. Now let's go over to CD. If I look at CD, my C is, the coordinates are negative 5 and negative 4. And my D is negative 1, negative 2. Okay, I'm just reading points. So now I'm going to solve for my slope of line CD. And I'm going to look at my y's. Let's highlight the y's. I'll I'll say this is my y right here, and this is my y. And then this is going to be my x, and this is my x right here. So again, this is my x2, that's y2, this is x1, this is x2. Now I'm going to plug in my numbers. So I'm going to put in my -2 right here, and it's going to minus a -4. And then I'm going to go in the bottom, and I see my -1 right here. That's a -1, and I'm going to minus a -5. Okay, again, we have minus any negative, that becomes a plus. This is also a plus. And so now this becomes -2 plus 4 is 2, and -1 plus 5 is 4. So this is also equal to 1/2, but a positive 1/2. All right, so let's go here. These are good things to remember. Hoi and bucks. Hoi means horizontal. Horizontal. So a horizontal line has a slope of 0. Right? Your slope is 0, and your equation is y equals some number. So let me draw this really quick. If I drew my x and my y axis, this is x and this is y. A horizontal line looks like this. So it could be this right here, and maybe the y value here is, let's say, 3. So here my equation is going to be y is equal to 3. So this is a horizontal line, slope is 0, and y equals 3 in this instance. Now let me go over here. I have this box, which stands for vertical. This is undefined. And this times it's going to be x equals a number. So if I were to graph this, my graph would be a vertical line. So let's say it's somewhere here. So, and the value here is, let's say, 4. Now this is a vertical line with a slope. Let me put it back here. The slope is undefined. Okay, so my slope is undefined, and my equation is going to be y is equal to 4. Oh, sorry, x equals 4. My mistake. X is equal to 4. Okay. Now let's look at this equation. Example 3. I have these 2 points. But notice that my x's are both -4. So what's going to happen is when I solve for my slope, it's going to be -4 minus 4 minus a -4, right? So this becomes plus, right? And this becomes 0. So automatically we know this is going to be that our slope is going to be undefined. So what kind of line this is? This is a vertical line. Vertical line. Okay. And your equation actually is x is equal to -4, right there. So let's do this. The slope of a line passing through the points x6 is here. This is my x. Let me just label this. x1, y1, x2, y2, and this is my slope already. So if I use the equation, I already know my slope. This is going to be -5/2 is equal to y2 is -4. Again, let me highlight that. These are my y's. So -4 minus 6, and my x's are going to be 7 minus x. Now I can simplify this to negative 5 over 2 is equal to negative 10 over 7 minus. So now we're going to cross multiply. Let's do our butterfly. Now we're going to say that negative 5 times 7 minus x is equal to 2 times negative 10. And if you guys remember, whenever you have these parentheses, you are distributing. So it'll be negative 5 times 7, which is a negative 35, and that'll be plus 5x, and that's equal to 2 times negative 10, which is a negative 20. Now let's solve for x, and I will add 35, and I will add 35. That goes away, and 5x is equal to 15. So if 5x is equal to 15, then I will divide this by 5, and I will divide this by 5. This cancels, so x is equal to 3. So this x right here is 3. Now, next part is, all points on the x-axis are in the format. So again, if you have your axis right here, and let's say we have a point on the x-axis, whatever number that is, the y is always a 0. So some number and y is 0. Now all points on the y-axis are in the format. So if I have some point up here or anywhere on the y-axis, I know my x is going to be 0 and my y is going to be some number. Okay? So that's what this is, 0 and some number. Some number, right? So, good. Now let's go on to special lines. We have parallel lines, and you guys know that these are lines that never touch. The symbol for parallel lines are this right here. So parallel lines means your slopes are the same. Slopes are the same. So some are the same. So that would mean that some slope, let's say 1, is going to be parallel to slope 2 if m1 is equal to m2, right? That means they are the same. Now, perpendicular slopes, this is your symbol right there, perpendicular, and your slopes are, slopes are negative reciprocals, What does that mean? That means if one of my slopes is, I'll call it 3, is equal to 2/3, I'm going to flip it. So my next slope, the perpendicular slope, is going to be a negative this time, and it's 3/2. So you flip it and change the sign. Okay? So this case, if you see that your slopes are negative reciprocals, you're going to say that your one slope is perpendicular to the other slope. Okay. And perpendicular again means they're at 90 degrees. Okay. So let's go look at these problems right here. We have example 5, and it says, I need to know if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So let's look at AB. AB's here, AB. So I want to find the slope of AB. So my slope of AB is equal to, now let's put that together. Let me highlight your x's and y's. So here are my y's. All right, and here, let's do the y's first. So I'll say 2, oops, let me use a different pen. I'll say 2 minus 1, right? And for my x's, I will highlight my x's now. And remember, I started with this right here, so I'm going to stay here on that point, and I'm going to say 1 minus a negative 2, okay? So remember, minus and a negative becomes a plus, okay? So now this is equal to 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 plus 2 is 3. Now let's go to the slope of CD now. So slope of CD is equal to, let's go look at C and D now. Do C and D, okay? So CD, and let me highlight my Y's. CD, so this is my Y, and this is my Y. So I'm going to say 2 minus 1, yes, 2 minus 1, and my x's are going to be 5, and I'm going to minus 2. So I'm going to say 5 minus 2. And that's equal to 2 minus 1 is 1, and 5 minus 2 is 3, right? So your two slopes are the same. Therefore, these are parallel. You can write it as slope of AB is equal to, oh, sorry, not equal, is parallel to the slope of CD. Okay. Now let's go over here to the other side here. Now we're going to look for EF. Okay, so EF is here. Let me highlight EF. This is E, this is F. Let me highlight the Y's. This is, oh, let me use the green, keep it consistent. 2 and negative 1. So let's keep going. So my slope of EF is equal to, this is going to be my negative 1, right there, minus 2, and then I'm going to go to my x's, and I'm going to highlight my x's here, and it's going to be negative 1 minus a negative 2. And remember that a minus and a negative together becomes plus. So this is equal to negative 3 and 1, which is just equal to, well, that's negative 3. Okay. And we did solve for the slope of AB already, and we know that's equal to 1/3. Okay. So let's compare these two. This is one slope right here, and let me just use this one right here. Okay. Notice that 1 is on top and 3 is on the bottom for line AB, and the slope for EF is 3 is on top and 1 is on the bottom. So they're flipped, they're reciprocals, and one is positive, one's negative. So they are negative reciprocals, and so therefore they are perpendicular, right? They are perpendicular. Okay, and you can also say that the slope of EF is perpendicular to the slope of AB. Okay.